And we are live on a Monday. For the first time, we are live. We are live on YouTube. We are live on X. We are live on Twitch. It is the post WrestleMania, not WrestleMania,
WrestleMania,
post.
what the fuck?
Look,
Jeez,
we're
are
live.
you are you starting to
I
get
can't edit it.
Alzheimer's, you old motherfucker? Now, Jesus.
I was just gonna say wrestling. Freaking, I'm drunk. We're
It
all
feels
drunk
like
on
WrestleMania
wrestling.
weekend with how many
We've
wrestling
had
shows we got.
we have had around 20 hours of wrestling in the last 2 days. So, yes, there's a lot to cover. But let's talk about the big news coming out of Monday Night Raw. Brock, Obafemi, Hell in a Cell at SummerSlam. Mike?
Yeah, listen, man. Okay, first of all, what an open. That open kicked ass. Like whoever made that, like shout out to you guys. That was a kick-ass open. Thanks for having me on your first ever live edition. It's great to be here. Hope you guys are doing well after the wrestling bonanza that we had over the weekend. Brock and Oba, man, Hell in a Cell. I did not see that, and I also did not see that they seemingly, at least as of now, is the indication is we are going forward with Obafemi being king of the ring, having the right to choose the champion that he could choose to go after the world champion. He is effectively bypassing that to go after Brock Lesnar in Hell in a Cell, which
he's delaying it. It's in
delaying
his back pocket.
It's in his back pocket. He's bypassing it for SummerSlam, which is a very interesting way of going. And I've mentioned this to you, and I know we've gone back and forth about this. And I've heard some, since they are taping the SmackDown after in Atlantic City, I've heard some things, I won't speculate on it here, about what direction they might be going in for SummerSlam there. I still think that maybe there is a possibility that that title opportunity still comes to fruition in the form of Brock Lesnar somehow being the WWE champion. That could still be on the table. We don't know, but there's a lot, the unpredictability, and we've talked about this in our side chats and, across the internet. What happened over the weekend with Oba winning and now getting to what we have here with now, everybody assumed it was going to be Brock and Oba at SummerSlam, but I don't think anybody had Hell in a Cell. I don't think anybody had Hell in a Cell on their board, which is freaking awesome. So I don't know about you guys. I'm excited to see this. I mean, I still think there's still some questions about like how we're going to go about Oba's title opportunity whenever it does happen. But, and I don't know if we can flesh this out too. Do you guys have an issue with how King of the Ring played out, seeing now what we've seen now with what happened on Raw? And we'll talk about the other big things. Because that's where I'm.
Oh my God. Literally.
Because that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at.
So
let's flesh this out. Let's flesh this out. DJ, go ahead.
No, so me and Brandon were literally just talking about this before you hopped in the room before we started the show, and how I was explaining how I think this is the first time I think in WWE history where they're not planning shit out in advance. They're just booking shit on the fly and seeing how it goes and see how it reacts and see if people go with it. And if it works, we're going to keep booking it that way. And if it don't, we'll just change it next week. It don't fucking matter. We just made this shit up. I feel like they had no plans for this. Like, they're trying to push Oba to the moon. And I feel like the issue everyone was saying around WrestleMania time with Oba being pushed too fast down our throats, he's going to be shoved down our throats too much because they see the cash cow that he is and the reactions he's getting. And this whole tournament made no sense. Like, if you were just going to do Brock and Oba 3, why not have Brock cost him the tournament to feed more into the feud? Then have that feed into Hell in the Cell instead of, we're just going to have Brock come back after he wins King of the Ring, do a random schmage angle, and then call Hell in a Cell. I said to Brandon, I thought, hold on, let me just finish this though. I told Brandon I thought this was the worst angle in their feud so far. And that's not completely a bad thing because this feud's been fucking amazing. But this was definitely the worst angle and the worst setup of them all so far, because There was very little effort put into it. We're just gonna put them both in the ring, do the regular Brock Lesnar pull apart shit, and we're gonna leave it at that. This isn't
at least they had Brock talk, which honestly surprised, because Brock usually, like, he's a decent promo, but like that surprised me that Brock kind of, like, Heyman barely talked. Like this was Brock and Oba, like, and so, like, but yeah, I'm kind of in the middle here. Like, it's great that we're getting this match, and if we're doing Hell in a Cell, this is probably closing night one. This is because I can't, or maybe they open the show with it. I just don't know how you can do it in any other spot. It's legitimately, like, we'll talk about Rollins and Reigns at some point here. Like, this is one of the biggest attractions that you're going to have at SummerSlam, and it's in Hell in a Cell. and like I said, they haven't done a Hell in a Cell since they barely have done Hell in a Cell since Triple H took over. I think it's basically, what, this is maybe the second or third since Triple H took over four years ago. Because, well, yeah, okay, they did. Yeah, I was at the one at WrestleMania, the last one in the godforsaken. Well, it was actually, this is when they changed the red cage. It was Edge and Balor, and then there was Punk and Drew, which was fucking amazing. And then there's this one. So they're making Hell in a Cell.
Wait, is this the first one since Punk and Drew?
Yeah, I think this is the first Hell in a Cell since Punk and Drew. It's been
no. There was one with someone from the Bloodline. There was one involved with Bloodline members, I swore.
Why do I feel like
maybe that was a cage match?
Was it a cage match, or was it just War Games? Because I feel like that the last Hell in a Cell match that we saw,
I feel like there had to be another Hell in a Cell match.
It feels like it, but I can't remember the other one off the top of my head. But the point here is, it's cool that we're using the stipulation, and it's been a minute since we've seen it. We're not bastardizing the stipulation as a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view like we did previously. So, but that's cool.
Yeah.
But then
I'm sorry, I looked it up. Punk Drew was the last Hell in a Cell match.
That's crazy. It's been almost 2 years. It's been almost 2 years since that happened.
Yeah.
That's
October
crazy.
24.
October 24 at Bad Blood. Yeah. Yeah, man. Like, that's the exciting part about it. But to DJ's point, my issue and what I'm having a tough time getting past is, especially considering how we're laying out Roman's path to SummerSlam with Seth Rollins, why couldn't you have Seth win King of the Ring? And, like, I get it. You can figure this out at some point. But to DJ's point, we're at a point now where it seems like WWE, one of our biggest criticisms is they didn't take chances and they didn't take risks. Now they're taking risks without really any plan, and they're just sort of figuring it out and hoping that it works. So maybe whatever they do out of this is actually good. Maybe Oba, challenges whoever champion he wants at Money in the Bank, which is the next pay-per-view after. Maybe that's what he does. Maybe he waits it out. Who knows? It's an interesting dynamic, but I get the sense that, like, throughout the King of the Ring tournament, with some of the decisions that they made, it felt like they were taking risks and they weren't really thinking about, okay, what are we going to do here? Because then we still got Seth and Braun in a cage. We could have gotten Seth and Braun in the final. So it's an odd route that they took to get to what we all expected was going to happen, which was Seth and Roman and, Oba and Brock. Some of us, and I know, Brandon, you wanted to see the crowning moment of the double duty, which could have been realistic, but they never really fleshed that out. They never really even gave that a chance.
It also
you said duty.
Also didn't have Hell in a Cell in play. When I was coming with that scenario. So,
right, exactly. When they said Hell in a Cell, you were like, man, he's probably, and then Pierce immediately after it, they basically totally nipped it in the butt and basically just said, hey, are you sure you want to do this? And Oba was very clear. The title can wait. It'll always be there. I want Brock. So what happens after then, we don't know, but we thought we were going to get some answers to some questions, but it was weird. It's weird. Like I said, I'm not quite like totally against it, but I'm like in the middle. I'm like, okay, it's cool the outcome we got, but it's weird how we got there.
got there. Thank you. I'm glad you said it because I was just gonna say that for you. That's why I'm so against this. We could have gotten to the same point where we were going without using King of the Ring as some, and not even as a vehicle. It wasn't even used as a vehicle to do anything except guarantee Oba a title shot in the future, which you could have just did that after he beat Brock Lesnar for a second fucking time. He pretty much, you know what I mean? Beating Brock Lesnar twice, I'm pretty sure is the equivalent of winning any stipulation to get a fucking title match. So I hate how we got here. I think everyone was expecting the third match to happen, but there was a way easier way to get there without just, using King of the Ring as whatever they used it for. I don't even know what was it purpose other than just to guarantee Oba a future title shot.
The accolade, giving Oba the
that too, because they made it clear in Brock and Oba's promo that like, yeah, man, I did King of the Ring years ago. What was it like 24 years? And it was the same. It was the same path that you pointed out, Brandon. It was like they were going to give him the Brock Lesnar push at SummerSlam, and that's why your path made a lot of sense. My whole thing going into it was like, if he was going to do it against Roman, it's just the way that they've been building the bloodline. It felt hard to believe that they were actually going to go all the way. But if they were going to do it with anybody, it would have been with Oba. But now they're putting this on the back burner and they're just going to wait because they just want to deal with one match and they just want to end Brock and Oba at SummerSlam and just move on.
To answer your question from earlier, though, I think the reason why they didn't just put it on Seth for Seth to get the title shot is because they wanted to close the chapter with Braun Breaker first.
Right.
Hold
on. Speaking of that, hold on. You just triggered me. Though. You said some trigger words, Braun Breaker, because can we have the conversation now that WWE is starting to kill their fucking golden goose? Like, literally, Braun Breaker in the past 2 months.
I did a video on my YouTube channel about this. Like, I think the concept of being buried, Braun Breaker is just in a spot where he's had some really bad luck. Where the timing of things going on, there was a bunch of injuries, with Seth getting injured, and they had to fast track that angle, and then Seth is ready to come back. Braun gets a hernia, and it's just, he comes back, and Oba is this monster on the same show. And then with what they did at Night of Champions.
No, but see, Mike, that's the issue. See, I don't think the issue is that he's getting buried. I think they're just taking away a lot of his luster. In the past 3 months, he's won 1 match and lost 7 of them. 7 matches for the guy. Again, this is the guy everybody's been telling us for the past 2 years he's the future. He's going to be main eventing WrestleManias in 5 years. But he don't win shit. He's stuck in a mid-card group. Yes, the one injury did fuck him up a bit because he was going to get a solid push. But even then, a guy like that, you should have almost no problem inserting him into the big picture. They gave him the 1 win against Seth and then literally let Seth kick the shit out of him for weeks. Like, and now after the feud, he lost the tag titles. He's still stuck with the mid-card group. Paul wants nothing to do with him and the group. Paul just walked away from the group.
Yeah, he just walked away from Theory tonight. Yeah, that was interesting.
You know what I mean? So like, I thought the plan should have been going into King of the Ring is make Braun Breaker King of the Ring, have the Vision feud with fucking the Bloodline, because the Bloodline would want the tag belts back. Braun would want the main title from Roman. You can do a whole faction feud and base the show around that with those integral parts just playing off each other throughout the shows. And eventually you can have Roman Reigns do a meaningful job to a younger talent and elevate him by letting Braun Breaker beat him. Holy shit. Instead of us just relying on nostalgia and relying on the fact that both Roman and Seth are Triple H's and Dusty's boys, and they're going to get pushed to the moon no matter fucking what throughout WWE history. And it's not fixing anything. Again, Oba is getting pushed way too fast. Way too fucking fast. Again, we're about to give him his 2nd win against Brock Lesnar and a future title shot already.
He's doing the Brock path.
Yeah, they're going the Brock path there. So
it's the path that
And
Brock
how well
in
did that
02.
work for Brock?
That was on Brock. Brock teetered out because he couldn't handle it. And we've even found out that Brock's not a patient person because before he got called up to the main roster back in 02, he was like, either bring me up from OVW or let me go, because he just couldn't wait. So, I don't think Oba's going to be that kind of personality that, is not going to be able to handle all this the way Brock wasn't able to. But speaking of Brock, that was Lesnar the person, not the character who was talking tonight.
Oh yeah, that was well, that's the thing about Brock when he gets on the mic. That's like he's himself. Like, and I think that's what makes him really entertaining is like he's legitimately, he's not playing a character. Like he's Brock Lesnar. Like he just walks in there and he just does whatever the fuck he wants. Like remember the whole Heath Slater thing from years back where he goes like like he was even laughing when he was in the ring with R-Truth. Like he's himself, which is kind of refreshing to see. Like I get it why Heyman's got to be his mouthpiece, but I think Lesnar, when he actually gets a chance to talk, can actually be really entertaining because he's himself. He's authentic.
But he also admitted that he can't cut a promo.
Yes, exactly, which was great. Yeah, I love
that. Brock's really good at the promos because he doesn't talk that much, and when he does, he doesn't overexpose himself. He's short, sweet, and to the fucking point. You know what I mean? Brock doesn't sit here and go on long-winded promos talking about his days on the farm in Saskatoon or how he bangs Sable or how Maya fucking bench presses as much as him before she goes out and shot puts and breaks every college record out there. So I think that's why Brock was more effective on the promo. But I think this was a kind of convoluted way to get to where we were going. And I'm glad we're doing the match. I'm kind of not looking forward to being Hell in a Cell, only because the last Hell in a Cell was so good and there's no way those two motherfuckers are going to top it. They can't exceed Punk and Drew. So it's just like I'm going into it with extremely high expectations, knowing that they're going to underachieve those expectations.
Plus, it's not. How long could it actually go? We know a Brock Lesnar match doesn't go past 5 minutes. So is he going to put all he can and like give us 10 minutes on this? 12 minutes? I mean,
no, this will be this will definitely be 20 minutes, but it's definitely going to be a task for Oba more because you don't want to expose him too much with all the shenanigans that could possibly go on in that match with, the tables, the kendo sticks, the chairs, or steel steps in that case.
I hope they do it old school style without all the gimmicks. And let them just beat the hell out of each other. That's the problem with all cage matches. Like even what we saw at Night of Champions. For once, WWE didn't have interference in a cage match, which is, I can't remember the last time no one interfered in a cage match in WWE, but there was no reason to have all the weapons. So I hope they go old school where there's no weapons on this, and it's just they're beating the piss out of each other.
Yeah, we'll see, man. Like, I mean, because there was a decent amount of weapons in Punk Drew. I think this is going to be interesting because these guys are two freaking behemoths and just straight up ass kickers. And that the physicality is going to be out of this world. Do they even need to use weapons? Because both of them are like freaking human weapons. So that's the thing right there. Back to DJ's thing about Braun. It's going to be interesting to see what they do next with him because it goes back to what he said off the top in the fact that WWE has really this inability. They make things up as they go. And I think what WWE in their mind was doing, even though they got a convoluted way to get there, was they're basically doing what they thought they were going to do at WrestleMania at SummerSlam. In that they were dead set on doing Seth and Roman. They were dead set on doing Seth and Roman, and that's why Seth won the cage match and ultimately won the feud. Because they had to keep him strong to get to the Roman match. But I totally get DJ's point about, hey, we're sacrificing kind of a young guy to get there. But that's just how this was going to go. And Braun looked strong in defeat. Like, he took 2 stomps. He went through 2 tables. His eye was fucking bleeding. So I don't think that everybody's been using the word burial. I don't think it's a burial, but what they do next with Braun is going to really tell you about the future of this guy. They've got to get him away from the vision. They've got to move. They got to get him away from the vision. They got to move on from that.
Well, I think the vision's dead.
Yeah, it's dead. It's dead. So like he can just kill all those people and be like he doesn't even need the vision. He didn't need the vision. Like Braun.
Listen, that group is forever cursed. Think about it. Everyone got hurt. Literally everyone. All the original members.
Danhausen did nothing, and they still got cursed. They got cursed before Danhausen was even there. Like, think about that. That's crazy.
I'm talking, but the whole fact that Paul Heyman was just like walked away from Theory to me tells me that the group's done.
Yeah, done.
So, or at least after next week, because I think next week we're actually going to see a Braun Breaker heel face turn, because they're getting a rematch for the tag titles.
Yeah, and they're not beating the Profits. No,
not in 2 weeks. So I think that is part of the move when it comes to Braun Breaker is, we got to make him a face, get him away from the vision, and then this way, we can start to build him up. Like you said earlier, I think there was just a lot of, unfortunate circumstances when it comes to Breaker. I think he also needs to be taught to slow down a little bit, because he botches a lot because he's trying to move at 100 miles an hour. So whether that's something that, is against him from the office, who knows? But, otherwise, Raw was crap, except for the bookends.
Yep.
It sucked.
Yeah,
Definitely
Raw was not
sucked.
Raw, everything in between the opening and closing of the show, which basically I think you might have just booked your 2 SummerSlam main events right there. Outside of that, like this show was not good. They're ready to go on holiday for 4th of July. They're taping SmackDown as we're live here. For all of you, and like I said, thank you guys for having me on the maiden voyage here on the live thing. It's been a pleasure to be on with you guys doing the tape shows, but be your first live guest. It's an honor. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. We appreciate it. But let's transition. Let's move on to everything that happened this past weekend, because we had a whole lot of wrestling. We had 4 full events over the weekend. Let's start off with, I guess, the big headline. Sami Zayn is WWE champion.
Hold on. I lied. You were wrong, Mike. The other night's main event is going to be, obviously, because of long-term storytelling, Chad Gable versus Sami Zayn for the World Heavyweight title, motherfuckers. You're hearing it now from DJ. That's where we're going.
Yeah, I'm not putting money on that one. Sorry.
Chad's gonna be.
Why else would they put the belt on the little ginger? I don't fucking know.
Chad's gonna be fighting for a championship. I don't think it's gonna be for the world title.
It's gonna be Penta. It's
gonna be Penta. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think there's a lack of validity to what DJ is saying. There is a story there. They're just not going to do it. They're just not going to do it. They're on 2 separate shows. There's just no path to get there. But that's where the whole downfall of Chad Gable started, was when Sammy beat him for the Intercontinental Championship a couple years ago. Listen, I wanted to see this happen, because Cody as champion is just not worked. I don't know if they're going to just revert right back to him. It could happen at Saturday night's main event. It could happen.
That's what I've been saying.
It's just like you don't know what's going to happen. But the way that this story was told, Sammy's been genuinely the most interesting person in WWE since WrestleMania. Genuinely, he has been one of the most interesting people in WWE. His character work has been terrific. They got rid of the underdog bullshit, and they actually made him a fully fleshed out character, kind of like a Kevin Owens, like a hybrid of all of these heels that have been feuding with Cody Rhodes, just the voice of reason. And then, even the special guest referee stuff, and, doing it in Saudi Arabia. Like, I didn't think they were going to do this, because WWE has just been chronically safe for so long. And so when he gets the 3 count, you're happy. Like, I'm happy for the guy, man. Guy's been doing it for a long fucking time. He deserves it. He's worked his ass off. You know, a lot of people thought he should have won at Elimination Chamber in Montreal ahead of WrestleMania 39 because when he was the honorary Uce. That didn't happen. A lot of people at the start of the year, even though he was never going to beat Drew, they were wondering if he was ever going to get this opportunity again. So work himself into this and get into a position where you're the champion. What sucks is this is probably going to, and maybe I can pose this to you guys. I saw a ton of people making this like out to be like, this is WWE's Darby Allin situation. I was like, what are we doing?
Hold on, Mike. To an extent, yes.
To an extent, yes.
To an extent, yes. Only because
rewarding a guy who's been a mid card guy.
Sam, it's not who's been. He still is. It's not like just because we put the belt on him doesn't change the fact that he's still a solid mid carder.
But I will say, but the big difference, and I know Brandon will probably agree with me here. Sammy at least had a story. Darby had no story. They just gave Darby a win on a pay-per-view. They were conveniently going to his hometown, and they were like, "Oh, we're going to give him the championship." And it was a year too late after what he was supposed to do at All in Texas. So it drove.
It wasn't on a pay-per-view. It was on Dynamite.
It was. It was. Yeah. It was the he won a title. Effectively won a title shot at Dynasty, and then it was the next Dynamite. You're right. Yes, exactly. Right. So
like you said, there was a story. You know, they've been building a character with Sammy all year long. I think a lot of people use the Sammy winning the title and then throwing up the Darby stuff to justify
Darby winning. Exactly. And that's what bothered me.
It was a bullshit run. No one cared for it. It turned things down for a while for AEW. So, you know, I think, you know, they are using it to like, you know, to hide their insecurities as AEW fans.
Yes.
I mean,
if SmackDown goes under 1 million, we can say we can compare this directly to Darby Allin. How about that? But no, hold on. I got a quick question I want to pose to you guys real quick about this. Do you think people are more excited that Sammy finally got his first title or that we finally got this motherfucker off of Cody?
Yes.
Because I'm on the ladder. I'm on the ladder. I don't give a shit that Sammy won it. I really don't care. I'm happy for him, kind of, but timing could have been better. But at least they got the belt off. I don't care because they got the belt off of fucking Cody finally.
I think it's 50-50. I think
that's why I said yes. That's why I said yes, because I'm not even sure what the answer to that question is.
You know, all of a sudden everyone's very happy for Sammy. You know, they all came out of the woodwork. All of a sudden the Sammy Ride or Dies, you know, showed up out of nowhere. But, you know, I think also part of it is, you know, getting it off of Cody. I also don't think it was an Austin 316 moment, Peter Rosenberg. So, you know, yeah, so. But what did you guys think of Night of Champions as a whole?
It was a mid pay-per-view. It wasn't their best, wasn't their worst. I mean, Seth and Braun kind of was good. It was what it was. I think Oba and Jay, when I watched that match, it took too fucking long. Jay Uso got more offense on Oba Femi than Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Fuck out of here. If you're finding ways to kill that motherfucker's aura, don't ever put him in the ring with Jay fucking Uso again. I don't give a fuck how hard you want to push him as a main eventer or say he's a main eventer or fucking insinuate that he's a main eventer. If you want to brainwash people that shit, that's fucking fine. But don't use him to try to fucking demean your fucking new golden goose the same way you guys are already killing Braun Breaker. Like, fuck out of here. That match, at least that match to me, I think that was the worst match they put there because it was too fucking competitive. Jay got too much offense on Oba, and Oba sold way too much for Jay Uso. I mean, we got the right result at the end of the day, and I understand it's a quote-unquote King of the Ring finals, and they got to make it look somewhat good, but too much offense for Jay. Way too much.
Now the question is, does putting Jay in that spot lead to something as far as a story-wise? because on Raw, he did mention that, he's kind of been avoiding Roman all night because, they asked him when he was on commentary, it's like, have you spoken to the tribal chief about your, losing? And he's like, I've been kind of avoiding him. So I'm wondering if that is going to lead to something. And I really hope we're not getting Jey Uso against Sami Zayn at SummerSlam. So, I mean, I honestly think we're leading to something with LA Knight at SummerSlam. I think it's going to be the Usos against LA Knight and Solo, honestly, because that seems to be where the angle they're going with.
I hate this bloodline shit. I'm going to be the one motherfucker to speak out loud about this because everyone's been sucking the fucking Kool-Aid and just slurping it up because they're happy they got the Three Stooges back together plus Jacob. And I think it's fucking stupid. All they did was reunite the bloodline, except give Jacob the proper position he should have had in the first fucking place. Instead, they gave it to Solo because that's pretty much all this is, except this time it's worse. It's way worse. This is the WWE equivalent of the Death Riders, except the difference is Roman's way more over than Moxley wishes he was as over as Roman. In Moxley's fucking head, he thinks he's as over as Roman. Ergo why he does the shit he does and acts the way he fucking acts. He thinks he's over as Roman, but he's not. But this is the WWE equivalent of the fucking Death Riders. Anyone involved with this shit is fucking death. I can't stand this shit when I'm watching it. I'll watch Roman say acknowledge me and I'll skip the rest of the fucking bullshit because I don't like the stupid backstage segments. I don't like the fucking Jimmy and Jay acting like comedy heels all the fucking time again when they're supposed to be baby faces and they're flip-flopping every fucking week. It's stupid. It's dumb. It's bad. I don't give a fuck what anyone tries to tell me on this one. The new bloodline is not as good as everyone is thinking it is. And give it 4 months, everyone will be tired of this shit and they'll say, DJ, you called it early.
Well, I think a lot of people are tired of it already.
Trust me, like I get annoyed opening up my Twitter account every day, seeing some bloodline geek just ball watch this, say it's cinema, it's the greatest storyline ever. Guys, it ended 2 years ago. All we're doing is reheating old nachos. That's all we're doing. And I'm sick and tired of this show being dominated by family-oriented stuff. I want, like, Brandon, like, I know I've proposed ideas because, like, I'm trying to think around. It's just WWE and TKO have not figured out for 2 years how to operate without the bloodline. And that's why they went back to it.
And they kind of did. They did with Drew and Punk for a bit.
Yeah, they did with Drew and Punk, and Drew and Punk was a total fucking accident. That was a total fucking accident. A total accident. And it turned into the best feud of
Punk for a while. Seth and Punk for a while was actually really, really good. Except when they started including the wives, that's when we kind of got like, all right, this is gonna drag out a little too fucking long.
Yeah.
But
we never even got we never even really got a true payoff to that either, because
we got a half payoff to
that because Seth got injured. We don't even know what we don't even know what the hell the payoff to that was going to be. So
like I think in terms of like everything that's been going on, like I don't know. I just hate this fucking show. I think the bloodline is just the equivalent of the Death Riders. And if they went the Vision route, even with the broken down Vision as it was, if Logan Paul didn't get hurt, I think that could have been a plan too. Had the Usos versus Paul in Theory, that's a solid match for the tag titles. At least it's against Logan Paul. Everyone hates Logan Paul. Long as Logan Paul's in the fucking match, it's a fucking marquee money match. Okay? Because everyone wants to see that guy get his ass kicked, shoved through a table, someone put his head up someone's ass, literally. Danhausen could come out and curse him. Everything would be great. And then Braun Breaker going after Roman. Again, Roman actually using his title run to elevate someone to his level instead of trying to work with people who are practically already fucking made. Jacob, practically fucking made already. Usos, already the greatest tag team possibly in WWE history in terms of the accolades.
And all family members. That's all you guys realize that since he beat Punk, he has only worked with his family. And that includes Seth. because
Seth is brother by not blood.
Seth is basically family. So all we've done since Roman won at WrestleMania is feud with his family.
Not even, yeah.
That's all. That's all he's done. And what I clamor for with all of these bloodline schmucks on the internet is, why are you guys trying to live in the past? All we are clamoring for as fans is something different. And this is, and no matter what anybody says, Jacob Fatu being involved in the bloodline is not different. They basically subbed him in for Solo. That's what this is. And it's just a babyface take on this. And then people are like, well, and then, the other thing that I've had an issue. Roman's never apologized for any of the wrongs that he did. And everybody's like, well, no, he actually apologized a couple years ago when he said yeet. I was like, that ain't an apology. That ain't an apology.
It's a shorthand apology.
It's a shorthand.
It's acknowledging Jay with his catchphrase. So that's saying that, that is, it's unspoken.
Yeah, it's just like I just think that it's just almost kind of convenient that now, oh, hey, everybody's okay with each other. It's just like I've just gotten so tight. I think maybe what rubs me the wrong way is just, and Brandon, you know this, that fan base is just a bunch of losers. Just a bunch of losers. They think that everything that the bloodline does is above everything else, and it's the only thing that matters, and it's the only thing that should be on television. That's my
hold on. Let me go on my WWE rant, because we're always talking shit about the sickos on Twitter. So let's hate on the
second. But I wanted to say one thing. I did put out a tweet today that I said that the Roman stands are the worst subsection of WWE fans there is.
No, and that's going into the point that I was just about to make, that WWE fans are bad because they're not just one giant fan base. There are a bunch of subsections of fan bases linked into one. You got the Roman bloodline stands. You got the fucking Cody crybabies. You got the live once or live longers, or all the live fans. Then you got the Rhea diehards. Then you got the EO suckers. You literally got a subsection of just bottom dwellers for just specific people. And it's just it's weird sometimes how like defensive some of these people are, and how hard they'll ride for some of this bad shit.
It's not just to interrupt you. It's not just the EO stuff. It's all the Joshis are combined into one. Because if you find someone who's into EO, they're the one saying we want Kyrie. They're the one talking about Asuka. They're the one talking about Julia.
Okay, let me give you another fan section. Fucking the Roxanne fans. Those weirdos too. Being obsessed with her since she was like fucking 17. Like, some of y'all need to go touch some fucking grass. But the point I'm trying to make is just like, I feel like a lot of WWE fans over the past few months, when DJ's been on this fucking tirade of saying WWE is bad, and a lot of motherfuckers are giving WWE a pass because it's WWE and they're the industry leader. What I'm saying is, they were good a year and a half ago. They were putting out good shit and good angles all across the board. Now it's more like hit and miss. They'll get 2 hits on every show every week. They'll have 2 segments that are good on 2 shows. So you're getting maybe 45 minutes of solid television out of fucking 5. That's a problem. And I'm not including NXT. So I'm sorry. Maybe an hour of good television out of 7. That's an issue. That is a huge problem. You got to fucking trickle that out somewhere. They got the star, and you can't say WWE doesn't have the star power. They have more star power now than almost ever before. They ain't gonna get more star power than they do now. They got Obas, they got Tiffany's, they got the fucking Usos. You got Chelsea Green's still somewhat of a fucking star. Almost every person on that roster who isn't an undercard curtain jerker like Tozawa is a fucking star. Fuck, Chad Gable's a star now. Penta's a star. Danhausen, possibly the 3rd most over person on that fucking roster right now. Danhausen. Like, they have the star power. It's just they're acting like they don't know what the fuck to do with it. And Triple H is going back to either the Attitude Era well or the bad Vince idea well. And it's just ridiculous. Again, Night of Champions, mid-tier pay-per-view. But if we're being honest, one of WWE's better pay-per-views this year, outside the OBJ match.
I didn't think
That tells
I
you more
honestly
about
didn't think the match
WWE
was
than it does
horrible.
anything else.
I
I
didn't
thought
think
the
that
match was
was
bad.
horrible. I mean, it was 7 minutes, but you know they did what they could for 7 minutes.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Offense.
Yeah, and DJ's right. Jay got way too much offense, and I understand that they were playing a lot of us because they wanted to try and convince us that Jey Uso was going to win. And if that happened, man, the internet would have been ablaze on Saturday afternoon. So, man, listen, this show wasn't bad. You had a couple of really, bold decisions. I mean, I can't say bold because, Oba winning King of the Ring was the right decision unequivocally. But a lot of people were really convinced going into Saturday that Jey Uso was going to win. So Oba wins. Good cage match with Braun and Seth. Main event was really good with the shock ending.
Best match on the show was the Liv.
Yeah, Io Liv was pretty good. It almost felt like they were kind of holding back because they knew they were going to work a second match at SummerSlam. It was pretty good, but it wasn't like they've wrestled before, and I think they've had matches that were better than that one. But it's almost like they were kind of holding back because they knew they were going to work a second consecutive PLE match. Jay Tiffany was there. Ricky Trick was there.
That was the best Ricky match he's had.
Yeah,
since in WWE.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was like abruptly. It just sort of ended, but that's kind of.
It's just too bad no one gives a shit.
Yeah, the crowd, and the crowd after, like, really for the first match and the last match was really good. Rest of this show, crowd was terrible. The crowd was not good.
It's not their fault, though. They don't know. In their defense, they only know the major stars. They don't care about the undercard guys, especially Ricky. They don't watch NXT over there either, so they're not going to know Ricky from NXT. He's pretty much a brand new guy to them. They've never seen before. So in his defense, I that's why he's not getting the reactions. But that even when he comes back stateside, no reactions. Even while they're over there during the European tour on SmackDowns, very little reactions. I don't know. They got to figure out something to do with Ricky, and they need to give him a big bodyguard. And I know there's a big fucking guy there who's named after a fucking car who can, be his bodyguard and kind of has history with him. Let's pair them up, put him in the mid-card division for a while.
Wait, Cadillac Jones is in WWE?
You know who I'm talking about. Royce Keys, the car guy.
Subaru Smith? Subaru Smith is...
But I'm telling you, what have they done with Royce Keys in the past few weeks anyway?
He's been still in that vortex with fucking... What's his face? With Solo.
So with Solo, yeah. The whole MFT thing, that shit will never end.
Well, MFT's over.
Yeah, the MFTs are done.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're right.
But
Solo, SmackDown's so terrible that everything.
So right now, what is looking like they're gonna make a random faction between Solo, LA Knight, and Royce Keys.
I mean, he keeps trying to get Royce to join him, but Royce keeps saying no. But I think it's also just a matter of Solo being desperate for backup because he's solo for the first time.
I think WWE avoiding doing the most obvious thing is going to fuck them over in the long run. Like, it's obvious they should do Hobbs and Ricky. They have no real plans for Hobbs. They have plans for Ricky, but he's floundering because he can't get over because there's nothing for him to talk about. There's no way for him to get no fucking heat. So throw him the big bodyguard. Hobbs can get him some fucking heat. Just beat people up for Ricky while Ricky goes out and gets pins and does very little work, and all Ricky has to go out there and do is talk on the fucking mic. He could be the Enzo, and Keys can be the Cass before they even bring those motherfuckers back. And then when they bring them back, guess what? You might have a fucking tag program. Be like, oh, guess what? Former AEW guys, here we go. and Enzo.
I think that right there is the problem why they're not doing it, because it's an AEW act.
It don't matter. They brought over AEW gimmicks before. Literally, Cody's entire gimmick is his AEW gimmick. Jade's entire presentation is her AEW gimmick.
To be fair, it was Cody's presentation before AEW existed too.
It don't matter. He made it bigger in AEW. He wasn't using Kingdom until AEW.
No,
That's not true.
He was
He
using
had it
Kingdom.
back in TNA.
He didn't have the stupid neck tattoo until AEW.
Well, he had the neck tattoo in Japan.
No, the neck tattoo.
No, that was AEW.
The neck tattoo came in it was like one of AEW's first pay-per-views. So he's right on that.
Yeah, but we're using a tattoo as like, come on.
That's how he got the logo. That's literally the logo.
He owns it.
Right, and he made it famous in AEW.
You're reaching.
With Jade.
Jade, I agree with. Jade is just the same thing, yes. And they're even doing an AEW thing with her, and it's floundering, doing the baddies or whatever they were calling them.
I want to say they're floundering.
They're not. People aren't tuning in for freaking me.
Yeah, they're still silent for Jade. There's crickets for Jade.
No, I wouldn't say that. People are interested in her and Charlotte. Stop that.
Yeah, they'll be interested. Yeah, that'll be, and that's gonna be interesting to see how they get there.
I was gonna say that's the hottest women's angle they have on SmackDown and have had on SmackDown for a while. It's hotter than anything Rhea's been doing.
Well, Rhea's also hasn't been on the show in like 2 weeks because we're trying to figure out if she's actually going to be healthy and good to go for SummerSlam because she's dealing with a knee issue, right?
Right.
So, well, we always got undefeated Vacant, but
yes, we could go back to Vacant. Yes, the great Vacant champ.
Let's shift the conversation. Did anyone actually watch TNA?
Of course I did. Fuck you. How dare you shame me for watching all wrestling and loving all wrestling and loving the art of professional wrestling?
Oh, okay, Aaron, you're on your apology tour too, Aaron?
No, I was actually quoting the fucking fish from SpongeBob.
Okay.
But
I'll ooh-ha. Ooh-ha.
Yeah, hold on. I was gonna say, let me go out and give the highlights to you guys, since apparently neither of you motherfuckers watched it. So
I watched the highlights.
You watched the highlights. I've watched this shit live. So yes, as he was saying, Ooh-ah Nation or Ooh-ha or whatever. Apollo Crews is in TNA. I don't give a fuck. I'm not calling him the stupid fucking name. Worst name ever. Fails every name test. For in WrestleMania, it's Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Ooh-ah Nation.
Well, that's why he's Apollo Crews in WWE.
What the fuck? You couldn't pick any better name. Okay, I'll get with that. Nation? The fuck it? Again, it sounds like a cheerleading faction. It sounds like a bootleg Spirit Squad name. Again, I'm glad they had a great match. The match was great. I thought it was actually one of the better multi-person matches I've seen in years. Or not multi-person. Sorry, I'm thinking of the X Division match. Sorry, I'm talking about Mustafa. It
was a three-way. It was a three-way, so it was a multi.
Right. That's right, Rich Swan.
No, but I'm the highlights I'm thinking of is the X Division match right now. They had a lot of multi-man matches here, this one, guys. But no, I thought the Mustafa Ali three-way match was actually not that bad. Him being the surprise entrance was actually really good. I'm having like a brain fart right now, but TNA is having no problems getting talent now. And
while you're thinking, real quick, Ooh-ha Nation. Ooh-ha's his real last name. It's his shoot last name. He got Nation from his coaches early in his career saying he's as strong as a nation because of his
I don't give a fuck
strength.
How he came up with the stupid name. It doesn't change that it's fucking terrible. His name would he would get more over with me if his name was Tampon Bitch Face. Okay. Tampon Bitch Face coming to the ring, hit it. Ooh-ah Nation would be a good ass name for the fucking finisher. That's a great finisher name. Oh, he just hit him with the Ooh-ah Nation. And you could do like a whole chant with it too. I'm cool with that, but that's your fucking name, bro? Come on. But if I'm doing my star rate, we're gonna start doing DJ star ratings. Fuck Dave Meltzer, okay? I'm giving that like 3 2/4, which is 2.5. But you guys get the joke. But yeah, no, it was a solid match, especially for TNA. TNA, the thing about TNA pay-per-views I can solidly save this year, outside of I think 2 that I've seen over the past year, they put on solid pay-per-views. Like, they are entertaining. They give you a smorgasbord of everything. The only thing they don't give you is star power.
Do you feel there was a sort of reboot for TNA with this pay-per-view, with all the drama of Tommy Dreamer leaving and all that? Or is it too early to tell?
No, I just don't think people really give a fuck that much either or about TNA's front office problems. I think at this point, whoever's here watching it is going to watch it no matter what, because they love TNA and they love the people there.
Well, what I mean is, from a creative standpoint, did you feel you saw something different than what we've seen, or is it too early?
No, I saw pretty much I saw status quo. I didn't see anything different, and it is a little too early to tell because it was a go-home show, and it was only a week into it. They were probably just following out and finishing up plans they already had set up before something changes. I think this pay-per-view cycle around, you'll see it'll be more directional changes than, holistic style changes to the show that you'll see. Like Nick Nemeth winning the belt, I think, was the plan from Tommy Dreamer and Delirious before Tommy left. And they were going with it because Santana's out the door, Slater's probably out the door. So they got to put the belt on someone who's old and reliable. Nick Nemeth is that guy. And whoever he drops the belt to is probably going to be their guy going forward, if that makes sense.
Who do you put it on?
Who would I put it on?
That's the question.
Trey Miguel.
Was he even back from injury?
You can wait. It'll be. I'm not saying do it tomorrow. I'm saying eventually, if you need someone to have as a plan and you want a somewhat young, vibrant person you can put over and elevate, your company. I do Trey Miguel. And
what about
AEW?
But okay, there's that. But what about Bang Bang Sosa? I know it's too early for him, but it's like, man, like
it would be a big moment, but I think he needs to earn his stripes first in TNA.
I agree. I'm just like that guy has such potential
upside,
and potential and upside that if you were gonna like strap a rocket to somebody and try to say, hey, TNA, we're serious about being, and like nobody's ever going to think that they're going to measure up to the other two companies, but that's a guy you invest in. I like the Trey Miguel thing too, also strictly from petty purposes for whatever the fuck happened with the Rascals, going there and him not, and him being left behind, and he's already won a championship there, which is great. Yeah, I mean, listen, to your point, Nick's my guy. I've always loved Nick, Dolph Ziggler. It's safe to give you some stability, which is what TNA needs because they don't sign anybody long term. But yeah, I mean, Trey Miguel's an interesting choice. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head who the hell else is even in consideration, like to be like in that.
Who's in the picture right now, right?
Like, maybe Moose, like they're making a big deal. That, by the way, I did see highlights of that match with him and Eddie Edwards, the insertion of the family.
Yes,
I mean that there was some heat there, man. That was some good shit. That was actually some pretty good shit with Moose, and Moose and Eddie have had good chemistry over the years, like dating back to like TNA like 6 or so years ago. Like they've had a bunch of good matches. But the thing with Moose is Moose has been there forever. He's getting up in there in age. He's not getting any younger. He's been world champion. So that's another option. Like they seem really dead set on, making the system a thing.
The thing with TNA is they drastically need newer names up top. Like in terms
that-
of the knockout division right now, they're set. They have everything they need in the knockouts division. At least in my opinion, I think right now I always call her Dana Brooke.
Yeah, Ash by Elegance.
Ash by Elegance.
I mean, you know, you had the former Xia Li. She was a good champion for a while.
Xia Brookside could be a good champion. You still have Elena Black around. You know what I mean? She's a name. She's a great fucking heel.
Indy Hartwell's great. Mara Sade is really good. I don't know if I heard Mara Sade's contract is coming up soon, and her significant other is Kevin Knight. So who knows if Mara Sade is going to be in TNA for much longer? I think she's great. I think she's terrific.
I think it was a plus that they added this secondary women's title, because they're doing a 16-woman tournament starting this week for the Knockouts TV title,
which is needed, because the issue I think with TNA, and I think they're going to go back to what helped them to get success the first time, was that Knockouts division got eyes on TNA. It wasn't the Main Event Mafia or any of the big WWE guys jumping over at that time. It was the Knockouts division, especially with Gail Kim and Awesome Kong having the feud they had up top. But all those other girls were helping deliver and keep interest as well. I think TNA right now, I don't think they're as strong, but they're pretty up there on the talent side. So they can book a division around. I think they're strong enough to where they can book, two separate divisions and be okay. The tag division might be the tricky part, but I think having a mid-card title for that women's roster will be fine, especially if you have the influx of the NXT talent and also now the OVW talent, since they signed the developmental deal with OVW. A lot of people are forgetting about already. So you'll have access to some of those talent and stuff, and you'll see a lot of those names probably popping up in that tournament too, like a Hollywood Haley J, or I'm trying to think who the fuck else is down there that I've known.
I think that also helps the issue that they seem to be having with losing knockouts. We've had like 3 who've requested their releases, and I think it has to do with a lot to do with the fact that they didn't have anything for them. If you're not in the women's championship, you're not really doing much.
What the fuck? What?
Yeah, he just popped in.
Surprise running.
Yeah.
I don't see him, but
did you watch TNA?
You don't want to see me. I'm just in my underwear right now.
Yeah, we definitely don't.
So, I don't know if you saw in my comments, they do have 2 people you could probably build around with. One still using his actual WWE name. The other one just debuted yesterday. Formerly Apollo Crews Hill and Ali is 2 guys you could build around. But for Nick Nemeth, he's the guy that should hold on to the title no matter what until you actually have someone that's ready to take over. If you don't have anyone ready to take over, there's no need to take the title off him.
I mean, he's the one who provides you the most stability. So, if you're trying to steady the ship, I totally agree on that.
We know he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, Nick's got nowhere to go. I mean, the only other thing he's doing is hosting radio. That's the only other thing he's doing. So he's not gonna go up and go back to WWE, and he's not gonna go to AEW. So it's Nick, you're gonna have a guy who's gonna be a good soldier for you and stand in there and do the job. So
Nick is TNA's version of Jon Moxley in terms of being reliable, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I know you can rely on him to go out there and do something. You need any given week, you need something to happen, you go to Nick Nemeth.
All right, so we got the world title change. We skimmed through the knockouts change. We got through the TV title being announced.
You want to talk about the tag team titles?
No, because I thought that was the one match I thought was a clusterfuck.
I fucking called it.
All right, can I just say this? Jeff Hardy is a certified fucking maniac. For him to be doing the shit that he is doing and him being able to function at damn near 50 is nothing short of remarkable. And the guy continues to just put his body on the line for our sicko entertainment. And it really is.
Don't use the S word.
Yeah, I know. It's admirable, man. And the Hardys still at their advanced age being able to hook in an audience and be like, because let's be real, in terms of like, we're talking about lack of stars and lack of, draws. We talk about that a lot in wrestling. The Hardys are still, even at their advanced age, they still draw and they still are, key cogs in this TNA thing. And they've stuck through a lot of bullshit and they continue to perform despite all the doubters. Like, I got to give these guys credit, man, because it could have been really easy for them to basically be like, okay, we've made all our money. We've done all of this shit. There's really nothing for us to do because TNA doesn't pay anybody. They don't rely on you. And these guys continue to go out there and just bust their ass, like, and just for our entertainment. Yeah, maybe it wasn't like I didn't watch the match. You guys can lobby for that. But like, seeing the spots and just seeing Jeff still do the same shit that he was doing 10, 15, 20 years ago is really insane because he doesn't have to keep doing it. He doesn't.
But you know that the Hardys and Ziggler are the ones who are eating up the TNA talent budget.
Yeah.
They're the ones who are actually getting paid.
Yeah.
That's why they have actual contracts.
Well, yeah, But I do think it's kind of cool that, like, I mean, if they were going to be able to, like, maybe give some of their money away in the budget, maybe that would actually make TNA better. But I do think it is very cool that, TNA, at least for, like, that's really their main cog in there. And the tag and the stuff around the tag team stuff, even if it's still goofy and it's a lot of nostalgia, like,
listen, all I gotta say about this tag team, this Hardy being in the tag team title thing is DJ ain't gonna say anything to not ruin any future endeavor possibilities. So I'm gonna just shut the fuck up and congratulate them. Good job, guys.
I'll say it. There's a distinct difference between the Hardys in AEW and the Hardys in TNA. The Hardys in AEW was some of the saddest shit I've ever seen in my life live. Jeff Hardy going through a table. It was like Jericho, you need to retire-esque when they were in AEW. And then since they've been in TNA, like they've seemed like it's still a little rough here and there, but they've seemed way more smooth, way more comfortable in ring. And like it doesn't, when you watch them, it doesn't feel sad like it does now watching Chris Jericho. You don't get this sort of like he needed to retire like 10 years ago, like Taker at the end. It feels somewhat natural. Granted, I could do without them running the tag division pretty much every 4 months.
Yeah, it's gotten. I get that. It kind of gets a little bit redundant because they just like to Brandon's point, like they're kind of hogging up a lot of the budget and they just don't have a lot of money to spend. But I do think that, like, in terms of like helping get visibility to TNA, like them being like, I think that's kind of what my point is, Hub, is that, that they're like, it doesn't feel forced, like some of the nostalgia that's going on in AEW. It's not like, very forced and out of place. It may get a little excessive here and there, but it's like they look like they look like they're in shape. They look like they're having fun. It's been entertaining from what little I've seen. So we'll see how long they last, man.
I think that's the difference. Like you just said, they're having fun, and I think that's the big difference. I think they knew after Jeff's last issues that they were basically, their hands were tied with how far they were going to go because there was no trust when they were in the AEW. So I think the fact that, they have freedom and they're able to have fun in TNA is, they're putting in the effort to, and not just, skinning by for the paycheck.
So we talk about this with WWE too. Is there any tag teams like AEW could bring, not AEW, TNA could bring in that's realistic that could help out so they're not just heavily relying on the Hardy Boys all the time? Because the Righteous, I love the Righteous, but like they've kind of fucking killed them.
In Butcher and the
Already.
Blade, I love what Brandon said. Butcher and the Blade makes a ton of sense because Allie, who's I think her and Braxton Sutter are still together, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that would just make a ton of sense right there. Like you get those guys in, like they were criminally underused in AEW, like they were basically background characters the whole time. So I think that's a call you got to make. Man, I'm just trying to think of who's even available. I'm trying to think of who's
Wyatt's.
even. Yeah, you could bring in the leftovers of the Wyatt Six. I mean, obviously Dexter Loomis has a history there. From him, Samuel Shaw could go back to his old name. Like you could,
and Indy is there,
Indy's there. So if you want to explore Index and just rename it, so
pretty sure Gacy's going to GCW. So I don't know if he's allowed to join TNA, considering GCW is a friend of AEW.
But aren't they also a friend of WWE?
Yeah, WWE was doing shit with Bloodsport.
Bloodsport's over.
But it's still GCW though.
Yeah, but it's different. It's Josh Barnett's shit. GCW is like the original All In, how that was technically a Cody Rhodes, Young Bucks Productions thing. It was really
by ROH.
It was pretty much ROH. That's what Bloodsport was. It's Josh Barnett's shit.
What did you guys think of the Amazing Red and getting inducted to the Hall of Fame?
I mean,
he's not the one in question. He's not the Hall of Fame announcement that I question a little bit here.
You're talking about Conan?
Yeah, I think Conan should have been with Homicide and Hernandez, not as a solo.
Well, isn't TNA still on bad terms with Homicide?
You could fix it. I'm pretty sure you can fix it. It's different leadership now and stuff. You could figure it out.
My question
Conan could be the middleman.
Can Conan, physically attend by October? Because he's going through a lot of shit.
I mean, maybe it'll be via satellite. I don't think they would have announced him going into the Hall of Fame if they weren't sure he wasn't going to be able to show. Or if he wasn't sure he wasn't going to be able to show. I still think there's one more shoe to drop of these Hall of Fame announcements, because I seriously doubt Homicide and Amazing Red are the headliners here.
Well, ODB's in there too.
Once again, I still think there is one more shoe to drop, because no way in hell are those three.
And that shoe to drop is going to be an AJ Styles hole.
It could be AJ. If it's not AJ for some magical reason, I think Bobby Roode's on the table.
I can see that.
They could pull
fully retired.
They could pull a Rey Mysterio thing here and just induct the Hardys while they're still active.
Yeah. I completely forgot that Ray was. I keep forgetting that Ray was inducted 3 years ago.
Oh, shit. All right, the party's getting full now. Nick's here, bitches.
Yeah, bitches. Oh, shit.
All right, fuck it. We're going straight into AEW. We're kicking open the forbidden door now. Pulling our pants down, taking a dump on the table.
Just fucking bolt.
Don't you mean forbidden snore or forbidden shore?
No, actually, I like that. Let's start calling it that. The forbidden store. Because this is the time of year where Tony goes shopping for talent.
For forbidden bore, okay.
Damn, y'all hated the event?
Okay, Nick. Are we actually hating on this event?
Nick, let me ask you something.
Well, no,
my 1 second, Mike. Mike, 1 sec. Nick, would you say this was a tale of two shows wrapped into one? I feel like there were two halves of this show that seemed just completely different. Again, the first half, which was the Forbidden Door stuff, with all the crossover stuff, and then once you hit the tag team title match, it was an AEW pay-per-view that had all the things that mattered for AEW.
Okay, so if we're talking about the show as a whole, I would say you're right on that. I would say, yeah, okay. It was a tale of two 2 shows, which is why, I mean, I think the concept, not the concept that needs to die, I think it just needs to be better executed. But with that being said, it actually flowed pretty well, in my opinion. And I mean, we can go into it and talk about it, but I actually think.
I'm glad you added that last caveat, in my opinion, but continue.
Well, no, I think that it definitely, I mean, I think it started off in first gear, and I think, again, you were that first half, like Brandon was saying, you were showing off your partnership. But then I think once it got to the tag team match, I think it picked up in second gear, and it kind of kept going until you hit, I think, the main event, right?
Yeah.
If I had to describe this pay-per-view in a food order, Nick, just so I can get you to understand this fully, okay? If I had to describe this in a food cuisine,
okay,
we ate fine Indian cuisine, and we had fucking curry in the first as the appetizer. That's what happened. We had the curry, and then we had to sit, and then the shit came.
So I'll flip your narrative. If you want to describe it in a food term, I would say it was a Sunday feast at an Italian's house. You started with like a fucking shit ton of antipasto and fucking pasta courses, and then you took your break and you digested, and then you went into your fucking chicken cutlets and fucking all kinds of different shit, and then you went into your fucking tiramisus and cannolis. I wouldn't say that the way you described it.
Okay, all right. Let me at least start off with my critique, because I'm going to give you guys the Stewie Griffin compliment sandwich here today. So I will say that both Owen tournaments were planned out and went, I think, better than the King of the Rings. I can say that now that they're both done and we've seen them both go on in real time. I enjoyed the Owen going on way more than the other two, because
let's not pretend like the women wasn't a clusterfuck, because you announced people that were injured that couldn't compete. You threw people in.
Hold on, time out. You really sat here and thought, out of all hopes, that Mercedes wasn't going to enter in the tournament at some point and win that shit.
Well, okay, like
I announced that shit before they announced anybody.
Well, okay, the path that they took, like, yeah, you think that was the way, but it's hard for me to grasp that they would actually announce people for the tournament and then sub them out for injury people, like because the Willow thing is now getting really weird, because the Willow thing is super weird. They vacated her title. She's ready to come back, and they're gonna crown a new champion on Wednesday. Like, the Willow stuff doesn't make any sense. The Cerise stuff made no sense, because she had a neck injury before they announced the tournament, and they still, I think, flew her out to do it and announced that she was out of the tournament, and that's when Maya World got subbed in. And more power to Maya. I mean, the circumstances of, like, obviously, heart goes out to her and her family with what happened with her brother. She did well for herself, I think, and I wish that they would actually give her.
That's something I had an issue with, because I felt that she was in that position for the wrong reason, and that's the exact reason why. She had never won a singles match on AEW TV.
But I would counter that. So, okay.
Hold on, Nick. Let me counter that first. Okay. Nick, I got you. Nick, I got you today, because I'm on this. So I think the difference between the two tournaments, and why I'm giving the way shit happened for AEW and Tony a slight pass than how King of the Ring tournament went. No one in King of the Ring got injured. None of their plans got foregoed or fucked up. Despite how bad it was that Tony really thought Sareee was going to fucking go through a serious neck injury to wrestle, was stupid. The Willow thing, it's whatever. That I really didn't care about that, because I knew at some point someone was going to be subbed out from Mercedes. There was no way in my mind that Mercedes was not going to be in this tournament and win back-to-back Owens, especially since she dropped all the belts.
I'll play devil's advocate. Maybe he knew Sari wasn't going to be cleared. He announced her knowing that she's not, and that was going to originally be where Mercedes was going to come in.
And maybe he did that thinking it would help the return pop for Mercedes because okay, someone has to sub in. You know what I mean? Maybe it wasn't complete bullshit for all.
But then the Willow thing happened too at the same time, which obviously happened during a match, so it wasn't planned. So then you had 2 spots that you had to fill. So I'll play devil's advocate and give benefit of the doubt on that one.
And I'm saying, still, despite that, the tournament still went through. Everything made sense with the tournament, except for Athena. Obviously, except for the Athena. Well, you know what? I lied. The Athena thing did make sense because they did the exact same fucking thing last year. So, but you know what I mean? For the most part, the tournaments made sense, and they got to the obvious. Even though the conclusions were obvious, they still got us there, and they got us there in a more interesting way to where King and Queen of the Ring. They didn't know how the fuck they were ending it until probably the night of the actual fucking tournament. They're like, oh, well, we got these 2 here and we're pushing the shit out of Oba and we don't want Jay to win this because we're going to give him a title shot anyway, apparently. So.
Well, I think for the women's Queen of the Ring, they knew that it was going to be Io from the start. I think that.
And not even that. We had the world champion in the fucking Queen of the Ring tournament to defend the opportunity to fight herself at fucking SummerSlam.
No, it was to fight Rhea so she could have. They explained it. It was to fight Rhea so she could have all the titles.
Where is Rhea?
She's
knee injury.
We are a month away from SummerSlam, and we have no update on that title.
Yep.
So,
none.
Okay. So to the Owens. I believe the Willow thing was by design. I think Tony wants to put that belt on Mercedes. And again, at the end of the day, if you're gonna crown her, you have to crown her at All In. You have to give her that moment. I think the Willow thing was by design because I think Tony heard the chatter online of how nobody wants to see Tekla go up against Monet. So I think that Willow's by design. Willow's going to come back and win the title at Redemption and then drop it to Mercedes at All In. So he can...
Can I jump in?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
So we're going to have Willow Nightingale, not once, but twice now, win a championship just to drop it to Mercedes 1 month later.
Yeah, it's gonna.
That's how
insane.
It's insane, but it's totally on brand.
I was gonna say that's definitely something Tony Khan would do.
It's something they'll do, but you can't turn around now and tell me, hey, Willow's one of the top players in the division now.
Well
you can't.
Here's the other part of this that's crazy. We might be looking at both men's and women's world championships changing hands a month before the show at Redemption. Because I've already resigned myself to the idea of Kenny Omega beating MJF at that show too.
Thekla's keeping that belt.
I just don't, like, to Nick's point, this is why I've kind of come to that conclusion too. I don't know how you do Mercedes and Tekla. They're both heels. I don't know how you do that match.
No, Mercedes. They'll have Mercedes as a baby face by that time eventually.
We'll see.
I don't see her being a heel going into All In.
I thought she would have come. I thought she would have come back as a baby face.
So did I.
I thought.
But this, again, we got to remember this is the same company who's switching the fucking Death Riders back and forth, baby face to heel every fucking week.
They switch them in the same show. Show.
Literally in the same goddamn segment. They'll start the segment as fucking heels, and then they'll leave kissing, hugging Ospreay because he fell down or something.
Well, and even in the Bandito Moxley match, like Bandito and Moxley was a straight heel, and then Moxley shaking his hand at the end of the match. He's shaking his hand at the end of the match. What are we doing?
Well, I think I would say, and this is me speaking. I think John has become more tweener. I think in AEW, the concept of, while you guys might disagree, I think the concept of heel and face kind of went away a while ago. I think it's really just because if you notice in the post media scrum, he's referring to the wrestlers, and I mean, you can agree with it or not, but He's calling them fighters, right? He's looking them at as athletes. So I think this notion of babyface and heel, I think, is slowly going away, at least in AEW's point. But regardless, I think Tony's heard the chatter online, doesn't want to put Mercedes against Thekla, and you got to find the way to take the title off of Thekla. So Willow wins it, has a transitional title reign like a Darby, and sayonara, right?
So for starters with this, the heel and face thing, I would agree with you, but I think in AEW, the fans pretty much, it doesn't matter to the fans. They'll cheer for whoever the hell they want to cheer. They boo whoever they want to hear. But I think
That's
the
a good
dynamic of heel or face would not being the thing in AEW makes sense if they didn't run a legit angle at the end of their second biggest show of the year with a heel turn of Kevin Knight, who's now become Don Callis family member number 84.
Yeah.
He just effectively replaced Andrade. That's basically what happened.
Well, did he move up since Andrade's out? Did he move up to like 82?
So I made a joke of this as soon as Andrade turned. Now that he's out, they're going to add 4 more members on Wednesday.
Oh God!
It's like cutting the head of the Hydra, like where it grows 3 more heads.
Yep.
That's what happens when you eliminate one. You get like 3-4 more members. It's great. It's crazy. The Don Callis.
It makes sense because look, Takesha turned babyface. They replaced him with Kevin Knight. So now we're gonna replace Andrade with someone.
Yeah, well, who's the next person who's going to be a big time heel that's going to come back? By the way, where the hell's Mark Davis? Where the hell's Mark Davis?
Visa.
Is he?
Visa.
It's a visa issue. Okay.
Yeah,
because I like Doyle, and that cage match was actually a lot of fun. It was indie plunder, but it was a lot of fun. But I was wondering, I was like, Doyle's fun, but he just got back. Like Mark Davis would have made a ton of sense in that match, but I guess visa issues that makes a ton of sense.
Well,
so before we jump to the clusterfuck cage match, I do have a question coming out of the women's Owen. What is Maya World now, quote unquote, a star? Did they make Maya World with this tournament here? Did they accomplish their goal and make her into an actual name?
Hub, I'll answer your question with a question. Is Action Andretti a star?
Well, that's different. Action Andretti had 1 match. This motherfucker had 4 and a pay-per-view match.
No, Action Andretti has had like 18 matches in AEW.
Yeah. No.
Is he still under contract?
Yes, in Ring of Honor.
Hub was referring to the 1 match that, to make him a star against Jericho.
Yeah, Jericho basically just decided the day of, hey, I'm going to put this guy over.
And then, he went to ROH. Maya World is going to go back to ROH. They're probably going to forego the entire Billy Stark stuff. She's going to be.
Wait, I'll even give you guys a better question. Where's Red Velvet? How's Red Velvet doing?
She's in ROH.
She just lost.
She lost in the tournament
last week.
Yeah, she lost. She lost it in the survival of the fittest qualifier, right? To Aminata, right?
Yeah,
she's the
champion in ROH.
She's a TV champ, women's TV champ in ROH.
Yeah, like I'll say this, like I was very her being thrust into the position to Brandon's point was very forced. But I gotta give her credit, man. She showed out. Like she was impressive, and I wish they would give her an opportunity because
she's no Stephanie Vaquer, and my friend Leo would beat you up for that.
She's not. But I gotta give her credit because that getting put into the position and I didn't like necessarily the whole circumstance like with her brother and that being the reason why she was ultimately the one who's the injury replacement out of really nowhere. And then she's getting a pay-per-view match. But I was impressed with her. She did a really good job. And I wish that AEW would capitalize on this and use something. But as we know, and it's going to lead to, she beat Athena already. The story's already there. Here's the problem. Nobody cares about Ring of Honor. So if you're actually going to make something out of this, and giving her a Ring of Honor championship, nobody's going to care about that. Like, as far as I'm concerned, if you want to really capitalize on the momentum, put her in the fucking survival of the fittest match and have her be like, I know you've already made the field for that, but put her on main television. Like, do that. And then
Who
we
asked
can
it?
we can revisit the whole question about did they make a star or not. But we know that this is how AEW does. They cycle through people and they don't capitalize on momentum unless you are a big star. They
Who
don't.
asked that? Who asked that question if she was a star?
It was
did.
Hub.
It's the answer will be on Wednesday if she's even on the show. Because I remember, I think it was Bully, or it could have been Taz on his old podcast, always said there's a difference between going over and getting over. You know, she didn't go over in the match, but, you know, they gave her 25 minutes to get over. And she's been getting over during this tournament. So now it's up to Tony if he's going to follow through with her getting over. Because if she just gets thrown into ROH or back to, you know, teaming with her friend and getting jobbed out to, you know, the Divine Dominion, then you threw away an opportunity. So now it all depends how Tony goes forward with her.
I think with the Athena stuff they ran last night, I think our answer is she's probably going back to ROH.
Yeah.
And that's probably your Death Before Dishonor headliner.
I thought you were going to say the death before her career.
It literally could. I follow probably ROH more than most people. Granted, I'm not subscribed to the stupid thing, but I still follow. And the Billy Stark stuff, which should have happened 2 years ago, likely, I'm hoping, and it sucks for my world, that she's not the one to beat Athena's fake Roman Reigns long world title reign, because there's no emotion behind it. I know she lost her brother and stuff, but that's not the story they're telling with her and Athena. There's no real reason to get behind Maya World in that title match. You've been telling a story with Billy Starks for 2 years, granted terribly, because it should have ended by now. But that should be the end game, and I think it would be a legit shame if they pivot and Maya World's the one ending that bullshit reign to begin with.
Oh yeah, I totally agree, Hub. Like I mean, I've been faintly following from afar because I really think Athena is criminally underused and she should be up on main AEW television, and it's been way too long for them to do it. Yeah, they fucked around forever with Billy Starks. It was like, yeah, you know, you got like what is she? She was like 18 when she got there. Like she's been doing this for 2-3 years, and what is she now? 21. She wasn't even old enough to drink when she first got there. Now she is. That's how long Athena's been champion.
So she quote turned on Athena a few years ago. They had a match at Final Battle.
Right.
She turned again a year later after going back to Athena. Rematch at Final Battle. She lost. She went back to Athena, and then at the end of Supercard of Honor this past year, she teased once again dissension and potentially leaving, which will likely lead into another match. Guess where? At Final Battle. At least Jay White came back.
Yes, that was great. It was good to see. It's good to see Jay White back.
I was just kind of pissed that he came back to help Copeland.
It made sense.
And plus, when I was first,
it did make sense.
I looked away from the screen for a few seconds because I had to go piss because I really didn't care about the match. And then I came back and I see David Finlay with the shillelagh, but I didn't see him at first. I didn't have my glasses on. I'm like, wait, is fucking Hangman back? And why the fuck does he have a shillelagh? And then lights went out, Jay White. I was like, oh, wait, that's not Hangman. That's not what I said. I was like, oh, wait, it makes sense now. Jay White's coming back to attack Hangman. And then I realized it was Hangman.
I mean, I didn't mind the return. I understand. I wish it was done differently. Because I agree with you guys in the sense of I don't think it made really that much sense. But Catch-22, if you watch New Japan, it makes sense. So I didn't like it, but I understood it.
It also made sense that he would help Copeland out because that's what he was doing when he got injured.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. See, with Brisbane
I didn't have
Brawl. That's right. Yeah.
Right. So I didn't have a problem with, Jay White helping Copeland out because that's what he was doing when he left.
I also appreciated that he wasn't so quick to be like, "Hey, Christian, how's it going?" Because they don't like each other from there. There was AEW is often not great with continuity. This made sense. And my frustration with the whole thing was like, unless you're really like a super New Japan diehard, you probably don't even remember or know about the David Finlay kicking him out of the Bullet Club. You don't.
And that's always been the problem with AEW is they just expect everyone to know the history of every organization.
Google it, man.
Yeah. So, maybe there'll be some explanation on Dynamite. I didn't expect an explanation during the pay-per-view. But, I'm sure you can show the footage or, intersplice it into something, even if it's a pre-tape promo.
I do know that they did mention it on commentary of what happened. They did. I'll give AEW credit on that. They did explain it on commentary that they said. I think it was actually the New Japan commentator who said why he was attacking him was because that he kicked him out.
Also, shout out to that guy Walker Stewart. He's very good. I enjoyed him on commentary. I mean, maybe it's just because it wasn't Tony Schiavone, but also I actually think Walker Stewart was actually pretty decent on commentary. I don't know what you guys felt about that. Not that we're listening to. No, he's pretty.
Every AEW commentator besides Ian Riccaboni and Caprice Coleman to freaking shame.
Yeah, no, he was great. Like I really enjoyed him. And like, listen, I'm okay with Nigel and I like Taz, but yeah, AEW commentary in general is not very good.
Taz is good if he has a strong number one with him.
Excalibur,
that's when Taz is at his best.
Excalibur is not that.
But I'm a huge fan of Jay White. The Bullet Club Civil War could have happened 2 years ago. I'm not going to complain it's happening now. My one question is, how are the dogs going to even the odds here? Because there's now 5 members of, I'm not calling them the Bang Bang Gang, Bullet Club Gold. And there's
seems like Gabe Kidd's coming back, right? I mean,
he has visa issues.
He's got visa. I mean, that's right. Everybody's got visa issues, man.
So they got 2.5 members with the dogs. So I don't know how they're going to even that up. If they can get enough members, there's your blood and guts match for later this year, maybe.
Which I mean, you're
gonna have to go on for freaking till November.
Or you just do stadium, or you just do another
stadium
stampede.
Yeah,
you could do another stadium stampede at Wembley.
I mean, you don't have to do blood and guts in November. They could move it up.
Yeah,
they can always move it up. Which I honestly, I would go this year without doing blood and guts. If we're being honest, same would go with WWE War Games. I wouldn't do it this year. But if you're gonna do it, this might be the story that makes sense rather than shoehorning the Death Riders of Will Ospreay against the Elite 5.0.
I got to call a timeout. Do we want to really quick just go over something that from the SmackDown taping today? Or do we not want to talk about it?
I ain't watching that shit.
Well,
so Monday,
this is what I was saying.
Monday in Chicago for Monday Night Raw, Sammy is defending the WWE title. They had a match between Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes. Cody won, so Cody is getting his rematch in Chicago on Monday.
They are going to boo that fucking dude out the fucking building.
I might have been wrong. I said MSG. It might be as soon as Monday.
No, because you know who else is also coming back on Monday in Chicago. I think Punk is going to come back, and that's how we're going to get to Punk and Cody.
That's gross. Sammy gets a 9-day reign. That's gross.
Hey, I literally wait for the record. Gross. I did call him the other day. I called him the other day. Wildfire Tommy Rich. If it went 9 days, I would be right.
It's basically guys. It's basically Christian. It's basically Christian from like 15 years ago when he won the title when Edge retired, and then legitimately on the SmackDown taping after lost the title to Randy Orton. Like, that's basically what this is.
But I don't want to get off the AEW conversation. I just saw that, and we are live, pal. So I had to throw that out there.
Ain't no one watching that piece of shit show.
I won't comment on WWE because I don't watch the product, so I can't. I don't want to sit here and say, oh yeah, this, that.
Bam Bigelow returns.
But nice.
Nick,
but yeah, buddy.
What did you think of the cage match?
I'll be honest with you.
I hope so.
Oh no, buddy.
Well, don't lie to me.
I'll lie to you every day of the week. No, I'm kidding. I really liked it. I really liked the aesthetics of it, the round cage. I like how they called it, instead of just calling it a regular steel cage, they actually named it. It's something unique. It's something that we have not seen before. He's going to abuse the shit out of it.
Well, we haven't
seen it
in AEW before. They have had circular cages in other companies.
Have they?
AAA, yes.
They've had a circular cage?
Yes.
Okay.
It didn't go to the floor. It was when they had the 6-sided ring in AAA. It would fit directly on top of the ring.
But they've never done anything. Okay, but they've never done anything like this.
No.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. So I like the aesthetics. I like the look of the cage. Again, the fact that they called it a Death's Door.
Devil's Den or whatever it was called.
It was Death's Door. I really like that. I really think this should be, and I mean, you guys can be thinking that I'm glazing it. This should definitely be a Forbidden Door staple. This match only happens at Forbidden Door, not anywhere else. And you add more stakes to it. Like, this was great. There were stakes involved. You got story in the match. There was plunder.
Something didn't make sense, though, that you're talking about story. Andrade obviously pre-planned the shirt he was wearing. He planned on turning against Don and MJF. So why did he help him out for 99% of the match instead of just turning on him from the start?
Because I feel like the match was going, I guess, and Andrade said the match was going according to plan, but then MJF disrespected him, right? Because remember that last moment, it was Jake Doyle who was holding him up, and MJF went out of his way to say, no, Andrade do it. Andrade's like, well, why me? What do you mean? Like, just do it. And he's like, no, you hold him. And then the fact that the week before Andrade got hit, he was prepared.
I understand why he turned. My whole point is, though, you went through wearing that shirt knowing you were going to rip it off to say, fuck Dunn, fuck MJF. So why did you wait? What if it didn't turn out bad and he didn't accidentally hit Andrade? Would he not have ripped the shirt off?
No.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, because then he probably at that point would have gotten his world title. Because realistically, theoretically, that's all Andrade wants. He wants a title shot. So if everything actually went according to
MJF.
Huh?
I don't think he's even going to get it. I think he's going to get a match against MJF. I don't think it's going to be for the title. I don't think if we're under the assumption and the belief that Kenny is winning the title at Redemption, that's in 4 weeks. That's at the end of July. So we're not going to have enough time for Andrade to get a title match. So the only time that makes sense for Andrade versus MJF would be at the Grand Slam Mexico show, which is August 5th, which is after. So
then Go ahead. Sorry, Brandon.
I was going to say, unless they're going to do Kenny versus him instead of the MJF, but you've been building to an Andrade MJF match. So that makes more sense, unless you're saving that for All In.
Okay. this is
as a
gonna sound
grudge
stupid.
match.
Well, no, you might be right. Maybe do like isn't there a stipulation like a Latin a CMLL stipulate something de Muertos? Like, isn't there a match sort
Isn't
of
that
like that?
basically? Isn't that a ladder match?
I maybe, but I can see what you're saying. The grudge match, I can see it. Maybe. Hey, you know what? Who knows? What if we get Andrade versus? Because we've already known, and it's been announced. MJF and Mark Briscoe's going down this Wednesday.
And it's opening the show.
So, do you then, if that's the case, and MJF wins that, do you run Andrade versus MJF at Spring Break? Because remember, they're in that new venue, right? You need a killer main event for that show.
But isn't that a collision show?
I don't know.
I feel like that's too close to the potential Kenny Omega match, and you're going to need time to A, build that back up, and B, solidify Omega as the contender. I think for Andrade, the probable path is Mexico against Omega, MJF costs in the match. There's your match at Wembley for MJF.
Yeah.
I would take that though, Hub. I would actually take that. I wouldn't mind that.
Well, because what else is MJF doing if he's not the champion? It seems like Andrade's the way to go, and like yeah, obviously Mexico would be a logical way to go there, but if you put some stakes and invest into it, I think Andrade it seems like Andrade and MJF was always like the option that they would go with if MJF wasn't going to be the champion, which I think he should still be the champion, but I get why they're going to go with Kenny and Will. I get why they're going to go that route.
I'm okay with Kenny and Will. I'm okay with Kenny winning it because they already fucked MJF. But
yeah, the first detour. It was stupid. So yeah, I'm with you, Brandon, on that. Like, yeah, they already kind of fucked this. So it's just like if you're gonna go on this route and you're gonna go on this roller coaster to get to Wembley, why don't you? And they've already put a story in it. These guys have history together for years. It makes sense. It's just I don't like the hot potatoing of the title, especially given how good they were doing when Max was holding it in the April. Like it was legitimately like the perfect title run. He had contenders all over him. Like he was having great defenses, and then you just give it to Darby, and everything went off the rails.
The only thing I'll say about that in a positive way, because I've been very, negative when it comes to the whole Darby thing, is at least you don't know what's happening. You don't know when the title, because we went through years and years of, you knew if someone was winning it, they were holding it a minimum of 6 to 9 months, if not more. So you knew that every title match didn't really matter. So, at least this, you're at a point where, you're unsure if Tony's going to, do a line and, decide to do a title change.
They might have legitimately had in this year, might already have had more title changes that they've had in probably the last couple. Well, I mean, they had Hangman and Moxley last year. But yeah, they've already had they had 3.
And Joe.
So
and Joe, that's right. Yeah, you're right. So.
I know we're going off the Forbidden Door path, but with the Darby thing, I mean, listen, I get people's maybe didn't like it, but if this doesn't, I'm not trying to make this a butt WWE thing. I'm not. So bear with me.
But you're about to.
Well, no. It's not but WWE. It's more, and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong. I see a lot of people online, asking for swerves and twists and turns and unpredictability and, shit like that. I think Tony, while it was maybe not the best timing to do it, I can't fault him for trying. You know what I mean? He tried something.
That's totally fair. That's fair.
He tried something. He thought it would. Listen, at the end of the day, if he thought it would pop a rating, who knows if it did or didn't. He at least had the balls to throw a wrench into something and give us that, oh, okay, this is weird, right? So I mean, was it executed amazingly? Maybe not, but I can't fault the guy for trying at least, right? But yeah, no, going back to Forbidden Door, it was it. I thought if I had to rate it at a scale of 10, I'm gonna rate it an 8 because the event itself was good, but the build towards the event was a lackluster.
But you also said earlier you agreed that it was it was basically two different events meshed into one. So you're still going to give it?
No, I will. I give it an 8. Again, the first, it started off slow, right? Because you had those 3 first matches, but then it did pick up a gear. And then by the end of the Cope and Christian match, because let's be real, I think that's kind of where the show picked up the pace after that return. I think the crowd was into the show after that. And then the 3 main events at the end, right? I think really saved the show.
Do you feel it was too long?
Absolutely. It's
6 hours.
Yeah, it's always.
It ended at almost 1 a.m. for some of you.
Yeah,
and it started at 7 because you had the 0 hour at 7. So those people were there for over 6 hours.
Like,
but if you're looking at sorry, Mikey, if you're looking at it that way about those people, I mean, yeah, it's gonna sound stupid, but I don't really feel bad for them because again, they were on the West Coast, right? That show ended at what, 9 p.m. for them?
No, but you're still. My point is, you're still sitting there for 6 hours. That's tedious. There's only so much energy you can have for 6 hours. You know what I mean?
No, and that's why I said what I said. I think the beginning of the show started off flat, and then again it picked up match after match. And then when it got to the Jay White reveal, I think the crowd was invested because at that point, it wasn't it like it was starting. That's where the show turned right into that second half of that show. So I would I would still give it an 8. I think the main event carried the show and saved it.
Well, let's talk about the actual main event because we haven't discussed Swerve and Ospreay. So what was your feelings on that match itself?
Say that again.
Ospreay and Swerve. What was your feelings on that match itself?
I had a problem. I mean, at one point, like they were just kicking out of everything. But we've said it since the beginning, that was Ospreay's tournament to lose, right?
Right.
So they got the outcome right. I mean, the match at that one point, like I said, a lot of kickouts, but by the middle of the match, you were glued to that thing, right? Like they were working on a completely different level.
Well, let me ask you, what is your? Because I've seen a lot of it online today about the absorbing finishers. We saw Swerve completely not even move when he got hit with a hidden blade. And then we saw Ospreay kick out at 1 on I think it was I forgot what one of Swerve's
it was a house call. It was a house call.
Yeah.
And then I think he hit a hidden blade, and then he hit a hidden blade, and then Swerve kicked out at 1. Like it was. And
then people were like giving the excuse, well, he was standing up, he wasn't kneeling, so it wasn't really a hidden blade finisher. It's like, come on, man.
It was a good match. The blood was very excessive, and I don't think they necessarily
35 minutes either.
And it didn't have to go 30. Well, you could say that about virtually every match on this show, kind of, I think, could have been cut a little bit. The women's match, I think, was good at the amount of time. The cage match was fine, but I know Zack Sabre Jr. and Kenny Omega was like a dream match for some people. That match didn't need to go 26 minutes. That match didn't need to go 26 minutes. My biggest issue is like
do you know what the shortest? Real quick, I'm sorry. The shortest match of the entire show was the
tag
Copeland
match
and Christian match, and that was 16:45. So that was your shortest match, was 16 minutes, 16 and a half minutes.
In an 8-match main card. Like that's why they went off the air at 9:50 Eastern or 9:50 Pacific, 12:50 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
And that's my, like I said, to Nick's point, the last 3 matches of this show really carried, because the first 2.5 hours, like really, it was just a lot of, trying to sell the concept of, hey, Forbidden Door, like you had the Shota Umino match with Pac, which came out of really nowhere. And like, unless you're like really into like, the New Japan and like sort of that part of it. So I'm not necessarily saying it was a bad show, but I think, to Brandon's point, when the shortest match of your show is 16 and a half minutes, or shortest 17, Nick left. So, and like a bunch of these matches went way longer than they should have. And then, like you said, Brandon, I would have cut 5 to 10 minutes from Swerve Ospreay. At least it felt way too long, and it got ridiculous at the end with the kickouts and the blood and everything. And, the I almost said bloodline, the Death Riders coming in to hype up Will Ospreay at the end. It got a little excessive. It was still a really good match, and I thought the last 3 matches of the show were really excellent. So it was solid, but like I said, the first 2.5 hours, it's like a lot of that didn't need to happen, or you could have cut some of those matches in half.
DJ, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
You sleeping on us?
No, I've just been letting y'all talk it out.
Yeah.
I haven't. Listen, the only positive thing I have to say about this pay-per-view really is the circular cage was a nice touch. That's one of the few different innovations in wrestling that actually turned out to work good. But I really didn't have much positive to say about this pay-per-view. It was just there. Forbidden Door always sucks, so I never look forward to it and or care. I just wait for it to be over. Now that it's over, now we can get to the big boy stuff, the real meat and potatoes.
Hub, what about you? What did you think of Forbidden Door?
Good show, not as good as All Out, like not All Out, Double or Nothing, like fans were trying to pretend it was. There's a lot of matches you could have cut time for to make sure it was done before one. Example, Omega and Sabre Jr. didn't need to go like 25 minutes. Mercedes and World didn't need to go 26. And like main event, I was fine with the main event going as long as it did. I was fine with the co-main event going as long as it did, because those are the 2 big matches you were kind of building towards this whole event. It was a show of 2 halves. It feels like up from the beginning till Jay White's return, it was just whatever. It felt like an episode of Dynamite. And then from after Jay White's return until the end, felt like an AEW pay-per-view. Solid show. For good show for a Forbidden Door, considering most Forbidden Doors have kind of sucked. But yeah, I mean, I am ready. I'm ready for redemption. Just get these transitional reigns started, and let's see what happens.
I mean, I could understand the cage match going a half hour because you had 12 guys, so you had to make sure they all got their shit in. But yeah, it's like mostly like, did we need Thekla and Starlight Kid to go 18 and a half minutes? That didn't have to go that long.
Actually, I want to pull this up.
I mean, that match was really about an angle. That match was really about attacking Taro Okada, the owner, and then peeling off the mask and spitting at it. That was what that's what it was. Like, outside of that, like, yeah, I don't know much about Starlight Kid and Tekla's great, but that was there to kind of just sell the Forbidden Door and Tekla's whole backstory of getting fired from there.
I thought it was funny that when it was being introduced, Excalibur's like, no relation to Kushida Okada. Like, okay, thanks.
So,
But
Forbidden Door will go main card only. Not one match went 15 minutes or under.
no,
The
the tag
quickest,
team
quickest.
title match was the shortest, and that was 16:45.
Yep. So you had 35, 30, 24, 16:45, 18:45, 18:15, 18:10, 26:30, and 17:50. And that got us till 1 in the morning. They could have cut a few minutes off the Pac match, could have cut a few minutes off Bandito, could have easily cut 10 minutes off of Omega and Zack Sabre Jr. You could have probably cut at least 9, maybe 8 off of Mercedes and Maya World, and then maybe 5 off of Osprey and Swerve. They got. That's been we. At some point, we got to start complaining about the length of these events because it's been an issue since day one. And if they weren't going to change it now, they're probably never going to change it. It's just something we got to accept.
It's like accepting we're gonna have commercials during WWE shows. It is what it is. Complaining about it every single time is not gonna change it.
I'm going to be honest. So I don't know. I wasn't here if you guys hit NXT or not, but commercials going through that has kind of turned me off of not watching NXT PLE.
You know what? I had a feeling because it was on regular TV, there was going to be commercials.
Yeah.
The only positive on that was at least everyone had picture in picture during it, so you didn't lose watching the match. I get it takes you out of the match, but at least you could see everything. It wasn't like a regular show where it was just commercials. Even though Great American Bash felt like just a regular NXT show. And I don't know if it's because it was at the PC, so it was the same aesthetics and all that, but it didn't feel like a PLE.
So it's all, in my opinion, straight up, it doesn't matter where the hell they are. It's just going to feel like a glorified NXT show from here on out with this CW usually. And granted, I hope you guys didn't talk about NXT because I watched the first match and that was enough for me. But
no, we actually didn't because Nick came on and then we jumped right to AEW.
Yeah, you didn't. Yeah, besides Kendall winning, you didn't miss shit.
I was just going to say the same exact thing. That's all we have to talk about.
I thought Zarya and Paxley was good.
So pretty much, when you think of NXT, what do you think they full-blown excel at? The women's division. That's the bright spot of that event. What do you think they suck at? The men's. That was the low part of the event. There you go.
I will say this, Kendall Gray has got to be one of the future faces of women's wrestling just in general. She's awesome. She's tremendous. And
I don't agree with Uncle Dave on a lot, but that's one I agree with him on.
Yeah, well, there's a reason why he's fawning over her and fighting with Mercedes.
The funny thing is, we talk about the commercials, but NXT, at least they get time for these matches.
Oh yeah, they do. They do.
With the exception of the speed match, which is automatically going to be under 5 minutes. The Tony and Naraka match was actually the shortest match of the night.
It should have
just over 10 minutes.
The world championship there.
Because they can't fucking go. That's why.
I like Tony, but yeah, it's
Tony feels like Sean loves him, and that's why he's there. And they know if they bring him up to the main roster, he's gone.
He's gone. He's gone. The mobster gimmick was never going to work on the main roster, but now you give him this vigilante gimmick, and it sort of humanizes him a little bit more. But even this doesn't have a ceiling on the main roster. Tony's got a ceiling. But he's not even
a vigilante at this point.
Yeah, he's not. No, he's just a guy.
He's just a guy.
He's a one-eyed vigilante now.
Yeah. By the way, NXT going back to Fireballs, man? Shout out back to freaking Karrion Kross and Keith Lee, man. Go back.
I love it. I love that it only took WWE fans a month and a half to figure out that Evil sucks.
Oh man.
Do you know what actually was the longest match on Great American Bash actually was? It was Miles Bourne and Tavion Heights.
Two
guys who can wrestle. I mean, yeah,
that match should have been better than what it was.
Yeah, considering the talent of those two guys. So, but shout out to Lola Vice, man. Like, I know she came in there. A lot of people were kind of rolling their eyes at her, but she's molded herself into really something very good. I've been very impressed with what she's done. Her and Kendall had a really good match there at the end. Kendall obviously was going to win. I think Lola, it seems like a main roster call up is imminent. I think she's going to, hopefully it doesn't turn into this wash of people, because the women's division is just kind of all over the place. They're seemingly trying to piece together, but if she goes to SmackDown, I actually think she could do pretty well. So
you know what's sadly going to happen, most likely?
Yeah.
They're not going to move her up. They're going to give her we really have nothing for you now, so let's turn you heel.
That always seems
they're going to move her to AAA.
Yeah, they'll just move her. They'll move her to AAA.
Actually, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, move her to AAA. Have something go on with La Catalina, and she's already got the tag belt with Iguana. Yeah, I almost forgot his name.
I forgot.
Layeska. Well, she carries around the title still. It's just no, but I've been very impressed with her. Like I said, a lot of the build up to that was about Kendall, because we know that Kendall's a rising star, and obviously Dave Meltzer is singing her praises to the nth degree. But Lola deserves her flowers. She's done a really good job.
Tatum Paxley too.
Oh yeah, Tatum's awesome too. I love Tatum.
Since the whole breaking up with Izzy Dane, she's coming to her own as a singles, So I'm excited to see where she's going to go when it comes to the main roster, because I think her time with NXT is coming to an end. So I wouldn't be surprised if post SummerSlam she's on the main roster.
So before the Lyra heel turn, I would have put Tatum with Lyra, and there's one tag team you have set for the division.
You could still do it. Did you see her vignette today?
I wouldn't, because you know what? I think Lyra as a heel could kill it as a solo. I'd let her be solo.
Her crash out today, the way she looked like she was crashing out when she did that vignette on Raw today. I want to see where this is going, because
I'm interested.
It's somewhat similar to what she was. I think it's going to be somewhat similar to what she was in NXT UK. Where
don't even remember
he was
NXT.
It was at the near the end of NXT UK, when they were at that fucking BT studio thing they were doing. That's when she was around, but I honestly think she's going to be a better heel than she was a babyface, because she was a good heel over in the UK, and honestly, off topic here, I feel like this is Bayley's. We're going to put over this young star and we're out, kind of thing.
Oh, you're talking the way the IWC was crashing out over that Mercedes photo?
I think even before the Mercedes photo, I felt.
By the way, that
time was ending.
That graphic was made it feels like 6 months ago. That graphic was made
by a fan that she just basically requoted or reposted, and then everyone made this big thing that Mercedes is revealing something, or
she's just fucking trolling people. She's just she doesn't give a shit.
I think on the Bayley front, it's going to matter what they offer her, because I think the whole doing the load runner or whatever the hell.
She did that.
The Lodestone seminar.
She did that without them the first go around. The second one, they kind of jumped in on. She can still do that without him. It's not a WWE thing.
Well, you know who was one of the star pupils from that is
Nikki
Brandon's girl, Nikki Blackheart. Yeah.
Yep. So I'm 50-50 on whether Bailey's going to bounce or not.
I'm like, I initially was like, I don't know if she'd do it. I'm kind of getting to where you are, where it's getting to the point of, I don't know what more there is for her to accomplish in WWE. And, you know, the money's obviously going to be so great to go to AEW. And then obviously her best friends there. So it makes sense. And, you know, AEW kind of could use her because like their women's division's been basically depleted because, you know, Mercedes beat everybody. And, you know,
don't just blame Mercedes. Tony Storm's at fault for that.
Well, I was getting there. It's Mercedes.
I think Tony Storm's was worse than Mercedes.
Mercedes and Tony both kind of just killed the division. And then you've got talented people up and down the roster like Megan Bayne and Lena Cross could honestly be contending for championships, yet they're stuck holding down a tag team division that doesn't exist.
So Bayley, I think where she goes will also pretty much decide Mercedes Moné's future.
That's another good point too.
I think if she re-ups with WWE, I think it's only a matter of time Mercedes is back. I think if she leaves and goes to AEW, Mercedes is re-upping with AEW.
Well, yeah, because it makes them. Why would she go back to WWE if, you know, the only reason really to go to WWE, which is Bayley, is already in AEW? So, but yeah, I agree with that. Bayley's pretty much decides Mercedes' future if it's Moné or Banks. But I think that we just hit over 2 hours, so I think we're gonna wrap it up for the first live show we did. DJ, you still awake?
Yeah, I'm alive. Like I said, I'm being respectful and quiet for the second hour because I dominated the first one.
He's pre-ordered his Giannis jersey.
That too. I actually did already pre-order it.
DJ, I haven't been on in a minute. Congrats, man. Congrats, man.
Oh, we're not done yet. Listen.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying is like, you better have more than just that.
We're getting either Bradley or if
we're gonna hype about Bradley Beal in 2026.
Come on, Bradley Beal, yeah.
In 2026.
What year? What year?
All we need that motherfucker to do is shoot.
You might as well just celebrate Klay Thompson. At this
Klay
point.
Thompson too. What do you mean? We just need shooters.
Dude, you're about to have you and the Warriors about to have the best team from 2018.
Better than a Jaylen Brownless Celtics.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. So that man has like no market, and I don't know how.
You got anything to close us out with, DJ?
Yeah, fuck you guys. Kevin Owens the main eventer.
Kevin Owens is the main eventer.
No, he's not.
I qualify Owens as a main eventer.
Thank you. Literally, that was the best bit. That was the best bit from our last show. I watched.
You should have been there then.
Times.
I'm sorry. My wife only turned 30 once.
Yeah, well, just when you get to your second wife, you'll celebrate it again. It's okay.
That's what I told her. I said next one's gonna be younger, man.
Yeah, no. First live show. We're accomplished, bitches. We got it. We're at 50. Get us to 150 next time. Let's do this.
We're actually at 51 right now on YouTube.
Oh, let's go. We got one.
So we're over. But this we'll do live again. But don't forget Sunday, DJ and Heel Show. 4th of July edition.
With Bosca's mom, maybe.
I'm gonna
wherever the fuck
we're gonna be body slamming Yokozuna on the Intrepid.